Chris here with a new deck profile. I'm here with Josh, and this is... what is this, Josh?
Zing Metalfoes for no reason at all.
Master Rule 5?
Master Rule 5. I wanted something to do with needle fiber that wasn't Orca shenanigans, and I remembered Zing was a thing, and have been playing 10E Metalfoes for a while, because I enjoy Metalfoe, but I really don't like how lackluster the synergy between the two decks were, so I opted to play the Zing variant. Not much to that. Kind of just started off a little bit. Just was a few Metalfoes. We have to work with an odd camera angle, so I'll be putting very few down at a time. These are probably your least important Metalfoes. Out of these 5, Stealing is the most important because it's a level 2. You can summon on your opponent's turn due to counter to make Omega. And kind of Bismugear because it's the only one that's has an actual effect. On the end phase, it will search a Metalfoe if it's destroyed. It comes up every now and then. Not too much though, sadly. Sometimes you summon Bismugear on your opponent's turn to make Trish, but it's very rare because you usually have set up with the Zings anyway. A question I've actually seen in most comment sections for other videos of Zing Metalfoes. No, Zings do not miss timing off of the Metalfoes because the Metalfoes say directly set one at the same time as the destruction. So therefore, the destruction and the set happen at the exact same time, and then the Zings can trigger. For the rest of the Metalfoes, these are honestly the more important ones. You never really use this one to synchro. He's just there because he's a gigantic beat stick. And Gold Driver is just more important. He comes up for a few synchro plays, but he's the best low scale because he's a level 4 and he's a 1900. Not really much to talk about because they're just vanilla monsters. I'm going to slowly start this off with just a small Zephyr package. When I say small, I mean kind of small. 1 Treasure, 2 Zephyr Nui, and 3 Zephyrath. The only important part about this is you always need access to this card, so I'm playing a bigger Zephyr engine because, well, you need to get to him. If you open up with both of these as well, what you can do is send Treasure, and Zephyrath will now become a low scale, and if Zephyrath is Pendulum summoned, you can target another Zing or Zephyro monster you control. It becomes a tuner, so it helps make Needle Fiber a little bit better. And this card adds 9 pillars, Divine Strike, Providence, Oracle, Path. It's also your main way to make Baxia on your turn. For other just basic Pendulum stuff, just running 3 Chronograph. I'm playing a Dark Spellcaster because Magician Souls is a card I could afford at the time. And this is the one I prompt to play. I don't want to play Selena, so I'm not going to play Jackal King. And Metalfoes can prompt as a summon itself, and it's level 6, so if you have Chi-Wen in this, you can make Yazi. It comes up not too often, honestly. You just usually send it to the graveyard of a Souls, though, but if you open it, it's not the worst one.
So, why no Time Gazer?
No Electromite. Time Gazer doesn't do anything on board. If I open it, it just makes me mad more.
Okay.
It's just... If it was a level 2, Time Gazer would be better.
Okay.
Because this is not a budget list. 3 copies of Magician Souls. This does a lot for this deck. Honestly, the main reason what it does is it deck thins by 1 because you dump the Spellcaster, but then you can also send Metalfoe Fusion. If you're going first, you can send Metalfoe Fusion and Metalfoe Combo you control to draw cards. Fusion you can also put back to draw a card, but Combo also lets you search a Metalfoe. So you open this at a Metalfoe and any card to, like, other Pendulum card to pop. You can set the combo, use this to send the combo to the grave, draw a card, and then search the other scale you need. And then it's a level 1, so if you don't link it off, you can make Trish on your opponent's turn. For Zing cards, 5 tuners. Surprisingly, for a synchro deck, they don't have a lot of tuners. 3 Jiaotu, 2 Chi-Wen. Omega can put Chi-Wen's back. I originally wanted to play 3-3 but I was opening too many Chi Wins. It made a lot of opening hands a lot worse than it should have been. For Joutu, he's more important because he's a level 2 tuner, so he actually helps make Baxia a little bit easier. He does have an on-field effect, being you can, if he's the only monster you control, send you 2 Yang Zing cards from your hand to the graveyard, summon a 0 attack and a 0 defense Yang Zing from deck. You never do that because it loses to any hand trap in the entire game, and you don't want to do that. Also, all Yang Zing have the same effect. If they're destroyed by battle the card effect, and sent to the graveyard, you just summon a Yang Zing with a different name from deck, and these just kind of start it. One Pulong. I actually don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm going to call it Pulong. I'll call it Poo for the rest of the video. You play him because he's just the one kind of Yang Zing you can summon on your opponent's turn to make Trish, and all the non-tuner Yang Zing has the same effect, being on your opponent's main or battle phase, you can Synchro Summon. You actually don't have to use them as a Synchro Summon. So as a small example, if you have Joutu and Zephyranui on your board, you can use Pulong effect to Synchro and just use those two to make the Baxia. He doesn't have to do anything. So that's always nice to know. Also, all the non-tuners give Synchro monsters additional effects. His effect is the Synchro becomes unaffected by spell cards. So that comes up every now and then. And then 2 Bixby. The only reason why this one's actually a little bit better because it's level 2 as well, but this one's also a non-tuner. Helps you make Omega, helps you make Trish, but the effect this one gives is unaffected by trap cards. So if you use this to make use him to make Trish, they can't imperm Trish, which comes up every now and then. 2BN, I'd say if you can, only play one, but if you draw it, it doesn't do anything anymore, so you always want one in deck, so that's why I'm playing 2. It's honestly one of the more important ones to make. I mean, well, not to make, but to summon on your opponent's turn, to make Herald with the Arclight. This one's effect is the monster cannot be destroyed by battle, so now your Herald of Arclight can't be destroyed by battle, and that's actually kind of nice. 1 Swanee. I'm just playing it because occasionally I can't beat over very certain cards and that are unaffected by card effects. Since new master rolls up, some people are testing really bad decks like Black Wings, and they have a monster that's just like 3,000 unaffected. So you just use this and make Omega, and this one's effect is the Synchro gains 500 attacks. So you just beat over it and win. For spell cards. 3 Oracle Zephyra and 3 Providence.
No Terra?
No, this is terraforming. That's like my entire thing. The main card you want to get to is Zephyranui, and you are playing 3, 6, 9 because the 3 Zephyrath and the 2 Zephyranui. So you're playing a lot. So theoretically, every opening hand you should be opening Zephyranui. This adds any of the Zephyr cards. If you open Divine Strike, 9 Pillars, you can use this to search this or Divine Strike. If you open Zephyrath, you can use this to search Zephyrath. Yeah, Zephyrath, and then send Treasure for you have another option for a low scale. And every now and then, this has 2 effects. Other effects you can activate. If you Synchro Summon with a Zephyra monster, you can stack a monster from your deck on top of your deck. Also, if you fusion summon with a Zephyra monster, you can special summon a monster from hand. Since we're playing Metalfoes cards, you can make Mithril, which takes a Metalfoes and a Pendulum, and then summon a monster from hand if you fuse any Zephyra. So that's always just nice to know. 1 Path. This is just mostly for grind games. You can summon it off of Zephyr. You can search it off of Zephyranui, that one. I always get the 2 mixed up, so I'm sorry for that. Shuffle 3 back, draw 2. You can put back extra cards if needed, like Yazi and stuff, but that doesn't come up too often. But it's just kind of a small recycle card. Metalfoes Fusion and Full Metalfoes Fusion. These are your fusion spells. This is the more important one. You'll just kind of be cycling through this one the most. I play this one because I'm still playing Alcahist. I think Relinquished is still a really strong monster, so why not have a quick effect one that I can make whenever I need to. And it hey, if you draw this and it doesn't do anything, send it off of Magician's Souls, put it back with Mithril later on. 3 Painful Decision. It searches any Metalfoe monster except for Wolflame. So it fills up the graveyard for Mithrilium. Also, it just grabs you a scale. Not too much to say about it, it's just more vanilla monster stuff. For trap cards, 2 combo. I was testing one for a bit. I started running into the problem of I wanted to search more Metalfoe monsters on the same turn, and I was like, how do I do this without like wasting a Mithrilium? Oh, you just play 2 combo. If you draw it, like if you draw, because you're playing 2, so you theoretically can draw it more. But if you draw it, you just send off the graveyard from Magician Souls, draw a card, and search a Metalfoe. But the main idea is you'll set it, and then you use Baxia to pop it, and then bring back level 4 lower, and then just use combo to search a Metalfoe monster. It'll start helping to get Metalfoe cards to start fusion summoning a bit more. It also has another effect, but it only comes up once every now and then. If you summon a Metalfoe fusion monster, you can bring back a monster of a lower level of the fusion. It doesn't come up often, you just use it for its grave effect. To counter, if a card's destroyed by battle card effect, special summon a Metalfoe from your deck, and you can banish it from the graveyard, except a turn is sent to graveyard, add back a Metalfoe from extract to hand. The main thing you do with it is turn 1, you set 1 or 2 of these off your scales, and when you use 9 Pillars, since it does destroy, you pronk it to summon a Metalfoe from your deck. There's not a lot of combos, it's more of a toolbox, so you just summon the levels you need to synchro summon, and on your turn, if your opponent flips scales, you just banish it from the graveyard and add back some scales. Last trap cards is 2 9 Pillars and a Divine Strike. 9 Pillars is the most important one to grab. It's if your opponent activates a spell trap or monster effect, and you control a Yang Zing, you negate the activation, shuffle the card back into the deck, then destroy a Yang Zing I control. One thing to note, if you don't shuffle back the card, you don't destroy the Yang Zing, because it's an if you do effect. And then one of this, banish if your opponent activates spell trap or monster effect, banish a face-up Zephyr, negate the activation if you do destroy it. It's another card to search off of it. If you open this, you summon Zephyr Nui, and you search this. So now you have the 2 negates kind of thing. For extra deck, some synchro stuff. The 1 Herald. It's a mini Macrocosmos. It works well with the Desert Lotus. So the main idea is you summon Needle Fiber, and then you'll set up some small board stuff. And on your opponent's turn after you 9 Pillars, you summon Bien and Chiwen, and Bien will make this in defense mode. This cannot be destroyed by battle, so they can't just run it over. This thing's effect is if a monster is sent from the main deck or the hand to the graveyard, it's banished instead. Also, if your opponent activates a spell trap or monster effect, tribute this card, negate the activation if you do destroy it. Desert Lotus, it says if it's synchro summoned, the turn player discards the card. Needle Fiber counts as a synchro summon. So therefore, you summon Herald, and then you use Needle Fiber to take onto this, and if they discard a monster, it's going to get banished. This also has the effect of synchro on his opponent's turn. It's a tuner, so this plus level 2 is Omega. 1 Yazi, everyone kind of knows Yazi at this point. The main thing you're going to do with it is summon it, pop it, maybe pop another Yang Zing. It can't be targeted. Whatever you use for its synchro, it will get additional effects. Sometimes my brain says, hey, how scary does a 3100 untargetable monster sound? It's like, yeah, that's kind of cool, actually. And Yazi's it's Yazi. There's not much to talk about with Yazi. Main reason to actually, why would you want to play this deck? It'd be this card, Baxia. Making this card in your opponent's turn is insane. It takes 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner worm monsters, and its effect is if you synchro summon him, you can target cards on the board equal to the number of different attribute worms used for its synchro summon, and shuffle them back in the deck. If you can make this on your opponent's turn, it's really strong because you shuffle back cards. Then its additional effect is once per turn, as a soft once per turn, so once per copy, you destroy a card you control, except itself, and if you do, special summon a level 4 lower monster from graveyard. So you could probably start seeing how the combos work with it, because you can strike combo, bring back Jiaotu, and then search the Metalfoe, pen summon the Zephyr Nui back, search anything you're going to need, and then make another one, and you can spin back more cards. And then also, once again, destroy and bring back. This is why I'm playing 2 combos, because of this little interaction. 1 Omega, mainly for the hand loop. Once you 9 pillars, you also trigger counter, summon Steelin, and just make this. It just helps you rip out 2 cards out of your opponent's hand. Also, this puts back your Chi-Win. It also puts back your counters, so it just kind of helps in the grind game. If your opponent destroys it, or you link off with it, you can just put this and your Desert Lotus back, and you get another use out of both of them, because, well, I'm playing 2 Needle Fibers. 1 Trishing your opponent, especially on their turn, it's very strong. This is very impactful synchro. There's not too much to really say, because we all know what Trish is, and if you can make Trish, why not? For the fusions, 2 Mithrilium and 1 Alkahest. I'm gonna talk about Mithrilium a bit. Most lists only play the 1. I'm just thinking about the grind game, so I'm playing the 2. Its effect is once per turn, target 2 Metalfoe monsters in your graveyard, shuffle and 1 card your opponent controls, shuffle those 2 cards back into the deck, and then bounce the card. Actually, I just messed up a little bit. I said target 1 card your opponent controls. It's actually 1 card on the field, so you can bounce back your scales. And if you bounce back your scales, you can once again use your popping effect or free up a zone. Because, like, say you have Zeph Wrath in your scale, you can bounce back to hand and then fuse with it, and then trigger Oracle Zephyr to fusion. To special summon a monster from hand. And if it's sent to the graveyard, you summon a Metalfoe vanilla monster from your graveyard or extra deck, which can be nice because after you bounce, you can summon Chi-Win, a synchro summon with it, summon Yazi, and then this will proc to summon a Metalfoe back, which is really handy. And then the 1 Alkahest. The whole gimmick with Alkahest is just on your opponent's turn, you make it with full Metalfoes fusion, and you summon this in defense, and this is just once per turn, quick effect, only on your opponent's turn. You equip a effect monster, and then he gains defense equal to the monster's attack. He also has the effect where you can fuse with the equip, so if you equip a Pendulum monster, you can make Mithrilium with him and the equipped monster. That might come up a bit because Pendulum's still not a bad deck. But you can also use a scale to pop the card equipped, and then fuse off with this, or just have it set on board. For Link monsters, 2 Needle Fiber. This is why I wanted to play the deck. This gave Zings a small consistency boost that I feel like was really needed for them. Sure, I would like them to have their own Link, but this will do. It takes 2 monsters and at least 1 tuner. It summons a level 3 or lower tuner from deck, and you can banish it to summon a synchro tuner from your extra deck, and it counts as a synchro summon. What you do with this is you make it, and you summon Chi-Win or Jiaotu. If you have Chi-Win in graveyard already, which isn't too hard because the Zings can summon the Chi-Win and then make this, you summon the Jiaotu because you can end on it, and then that's your target for the 9 pillars. I'm playing 2 because turn 1 plays and then continuation on turn 2, my next turn. One of the 10 you link to, at first I wasn't playing it, but like the more I looked at this card, you can link off 2 Baxia or something, or like anything, make this, discard a card, bring back Baxia, and get another usage out of the Reborn effect. Also, if a Metalfoe monster declares an attack, or is attacked, except for Bismugear, only the vanilla ones I will say, it triggers this one's effect to pop a card. But the turn you use its discard, you can only use Worm Monster effects. So if you make it, make sure you get all your other effects out, like Mithrilium, before you use this thing's effect. Lanfracius, occasionally, not too often, but it comes up enough where you can't make Needle Fiber, or you can't make the 10 link. You just need to free up some zones to pen summon a few more monsters. You just make this 2 monsters. I can't find my Lambda. If you have the Lambda, play Lambda over this. I just can't find mine right now. And then 1 Boral Sword. Honestly, this is not needed. I'd actually recommend playing TG Wonder Magician instead of this, because you can go TG Wonder Magician, Needle Fiber, take out into Wonder Magician, pop a Scale, and then trigger counter, and that helps you make more cards. Otherwise, like Boral Sword, it's OTK turbo the deck. Hold a card. Oh, hey, Lambda. One thing you can also I don't like showing side decks on these things, but one thing to side deck in this is the Tenyi Vizda, because going second, you summon the Vizda, summon Chiwin, and make Baxia, shuffle Baxia cards. Then when you summon a Metalfoes, you can use the Vizda to bounce a card. I should probably start showing a few side decks, things like that, but I just never really have them built on these things.
Okay. Other than your few thoughts, anything else?
If you're really playing this deck, there's a lot of like really big combo variants out right now. I don't think that's the correct way to do it. It's a slow grind deck. You can just get out a few negates and backs on your opponent's turn. You can play the grind game really well. Don't waste Baxias to make co-op Harbinger. It's really not worth it.
Okay. Well, that's the profile. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that clickbaity shit. If you guys, anyone wants future content, specific content, put that down in the comment section. Other than that, that's it. I'm out.